Hey everyone, welcome to AC Academy. Today we're going to go over Algebra 1, Section 1.4.3, Linear Functions and Intercepts. All right, so without further delay, let's get into it. Let's look at question number 1 here. What is the y-intercept of the line graphed on the grid? So there's multiple ways of doing this. I'm going to try to show you as many ways as possible within this section here. So first thing, I think the obvious one. Let's look at the graph, right? Can you determine the y-intercept from this plot? So from here, it looks like something between 5 and 6. And again, the y-intercept is where this plot crosses the y-axis, right? It's whenever x equals 0, y equals some sort of value. Y can equal 0, but in this problem, it's not equal to 0, right? So from looking at the plot, we can see it's somewhere between 5 and 6, but we don't have an exact answer. Now, if you had a test that you were timed on and you had 4 answer choices, and the answer choices were -5, -3, 1, and then 5.3 or something like that, you would know it's 5.3. And to save time, I'd say just go ahead and click that answer, especially if you have a plot. If you don't have a plot, what you have to do is solve for an equation, right? And the equation is going to be in the standard format, y equals mx plus b. And then, again, standard format is something we reviewed in an earlier lecture. So, again, I'd recommend going back to that if you do not know the standard format, right? Y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, and b is going to be the y-intercept, right? Why is b the y-intercept? Because, my handwriting. Because whenever x equals 0, like I said before, y is going to equal some value, right? So, for example, y equals m, which is the slope, x equals 0 plus b. Whenever this equals 0, that means this goes to 0, so we know that y equals b. Thus, b is the y-intercept. So, we have two plots. We have 2 points. Point 1 is equal to -2, 7, and P2 is equal to 6, 1, right? So we want an equation in this format so that we can determine B. So first thing we have to determine, we have 2 variables and we have 2 points. So let's solve for M first, because we need m to find b, since we don't have that exact value right here, right? Or we don't know what y is whenever x equals 0. That's what we're trying to find. So let's go ahead and get the slope of this, which slope is just rise over run. Again, let me write that out, so just in case. Rise over run, or delta y over delta x. Again, run, rise. So we know the slope's negative, so let's go ahead and here's our point 1, and let's say like point 2 here, right? Okay, what is delta y? 7 to 1, right? So this is y equals 7, y equals 1. So slope, which is m, equals 7 minus 1, because that is the change in y. Again, delta y over what is the change in x. And remember to keep this, if you write 7 first here, make sure you're writing -2 first here. Don't flip-flop them. You can, but for the sake of clarity and for this problem, let's not. Let's do everything consistent. And I recommend doing everything consistent, working on like problems here on out, because if you do make a mistake, if you keep flip-flopping all these numbers, it's hard to track your work. It's hard to see where you went wrong. Okay? So the change in x, -2 to 6, right? Okay, so what does m equal? That equals 6 over -2 minus 6, -8, right? So your slope, and this looks correct because it's negative, equals -6 over 8, right? So our equation right now, y equals -6 over 8, x plus b. Okay, so how do we solve for b, right? We have 2 points. Let's plug in one of the points into this equation, and then we'll solve for b, because that point is going to give us y, and it's going to give us x. Okay. Let's plug in this one, the first one. You can plug in both, but y equals 7, right? And this is plug in. Oh my. Plug in 0.1. Next step, I'm going to write a little bit in blue, okay? Just so you can see. This is kind of step 1 here. This is step 2 here. So the second point, y equals 7. 7 equals negative 6 over 8. X, which in this on this point is negative 2 plus b. Okay, so the next step, let's solve this out. We have 7 equals negative 6 times 2 equals 12. Negative 6 times negative 2 equals 12. Over 8 plus b. 12 over 8 is the same as 1 and 1/2, right? Again, this is 8 plus 4. So let me simplify this. It's going to be 8 over 8 plus 4 over 8. So 1.5, right? So 7 equals 1.5 plus b. We're going to subtract 1.5 minus 1.5. B equals 5.5. Which is pretty much exactly what we were looking at, right? I said somewhere between 5 and 6, y-intercept 5.5 for these plot. Okay. So hopefully that made sense. Let's go to question 2. Question 2 we're going to do in, let's do red, okay? Plot negative 3x plus 5y equals negative 15. So first, we want this, again, in y equals mx plus b format. So this is the standard format. Right? Okay, so how do we convert this equation to get in the standard format? Well, we know m slope, we know b's y-intercept, we have x, we have y, we have x, we have y. So we want to make this look like this. So let me do this step by step. Negative 3x plus 5y equals negative 15. First thing I want to do is get everything. I want to have this initially looking like standard format, right? So what am I going to do? Plus 3x. Everything you do to this side, you have to do to the other side, plus 3x. This is step 1 here. So step 2, we'll make it 5y equals 3x minus 15. Right? Okay, so we want standard format looks like y equals some slope times x plus b. Y is by itself, so y equals 1. We want y to equal 1, so let's divide by 5. We're going to have to divide this by 5, right? So we have y equals 3 over 5 times x minus 15 over 5 is 3. Okay, so we have this equation. This is our equation here for this problem. Okay, so let's plot this on this plot. And we're just going to keep this red, and then this color, this problem we'll do in a different color. So y equals 3 over 5x minus 3. So minus 3 is the y-intercept whenever x equals 0. And let's just do this just for clarity. And we're going to plot to the right. You do the same steps here whenever you're plotting to the left, but just for the sake of time, I'm going to just plot items to the right. So whenever x equals 0, we'll plug it in here. Y equals, and let me zoom in here, sorry, just so things can be a little bit more clear and I'll have more room to write. 3 over 5 times 0 minus 3, which equals negative 3. Whenever x equals 1, 3 over 5 times 1 minus 3. That equals minus 3, negative 3, so rather 0.6, which is 3 over 5 minus 3, right? Minus 3, sorry. Whoop, which is negative 2.4. And once you get the hang of this, see, I'll show you something here. Right, 3 over 5, 3 over 5 times 2 minus 3. So 3 times 2, 6 divided by 5. 6 divided by 5. 1.2 minus 3. Negative 1.8. Okay, now let's stop here. So we see this is changing by 0.6. This is changing by 0.6. You don't have to do this product anymore. So you could do 3, 4, 5. You have negative 1.8 plus 0.6, right? Negative 1.2, negative 0.6, 0. Okay. Just from plugging in, and you see that change, and you know this equation's linear, so everything, all these changes are going to be the same. 0.6. 0.6. So if we're going to plot that, so x equals 1, y equals 0.6, and something like this. Sorry, I was looking here. X equals 1, y equals negative 2.4. And then we're going to skip to x equals 5, y equals 0. Just so you see the general trend of the plot. Oh my, sorry. Something like that. Okay, so we got the equation. We made a table here, then we plotted it on this one. And this is y equals 3 over 5x minus 3. Okay? So we're looking at that so far. Just to back up so you can see everything that we did so far. Now the third question is going to be in green. I'm making up colors as I go, but this one's just saying determine the y-intercept. Right, and this one is generally just going to be an estimate. I'm not going to, well, rather, okay, let's make up some points just for old time's sake. This point's going to be 1, 4. This point's going to be negative 1, negative 7. That's at least what it looks like. And we're going to repeat the same steps that we did above without looking at them, right? So first, again, y equals mx plus b, and we have 2 points, negative 1, negative 7, and then we have 1, 4. Let's calculate the slope. I'll write the steps. Slope, then 2, plug in, and then 3 is solve. So first thing, slope. Delta y over delta x. These 2 points, we know this is positive just by looking at it, right? Delta y, this thing goes from negative 7 to 4. Keep everything on the same side. Delta x, negative 1 to 1. This equals negative 11 over negative 2. Right, which is 11 over 2. That's the slope. Now that we have that, let's plug it in a standard format. Which equals 11 over 2 times x plus b. Now, what is plug in right here, right? Let's plug in one of these points. Let's plug in this one up here, 1, 4. So when y equals 4, 11 over 2, x equals 1 plus b, right? So 11 over 2 is the same as 5.5. Ooh, 4 equals 5.5 plus b. We're looking here, the y-intercept somewhere in the negative range. We're going to minus 5.5, and then we get b equal to negative 1.5. All right. So it's not too bad once you get the hang of everything. Hopefully this all made sense. If not, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section. I'll take a look at it. If you have any personal homework question or anything, same thing, leave it in the comment section. I'll see if I could get to it, maybe make a video from it. But if there's any clarification that's needed, any points or anything you want to say, go ahead and put it there, and I will get to it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully this makes sense, and hopefully you check out the other videos. I'll see you soon.